Erik, with your leadership, how will that be displayed on the back line with whoever is next to you this Wednesday?
I think everyone is just pumped up for a final, and everyone want to play. So, with my experience, these games, you don't need to motivate players. It's enough in itself to be in a final, and you want to be remembered. And we have a chance now, and of course, also going up against Inter Miami is going to be tough, but we're ready, and we know we can do it.
How do you feel about some people labeling you guys as the underdogs in this match?
I think Dynamo in general are the underdogs. Whenever we are spoken about, it's always the underdogs, and that's due to the last seasons, of course. But I think this season has been much different, and we are in a position in the league where we have given ourselves a chance to compete, and being in a final, being the underdogs is fine for us. We have a game plan that we're going to stick to, and we believe 100% that we can do it, and I think it's possible.
Erik, can you share insight into your personal approach as a defender when you are facing a strong attacking team and having Lionel Messi in it?
Yeah, it's always it's difficult going up against the best players in the world, and we are going to play against the best player, and their front attackers are just in good form. We're playing a team that is in good form, that scores a lot of goals. So I think the key is for us to be aware mentally, and concentration is the most important thing when you play against these players that are always alert, and if you switch off for a second, they will exploit that kind of misconcentration that we will have. But I believe that we can concentrate for 90 minutes, especially when it comes up to a final.
Do you view this game as one of the biggest finals ever played in your career right now at the moment?
I've been fortunate to be in a lot of big games in my career, so it's always difficult to say which one is the biggest. But for me, being a new player in Houston Dynamo, only been here 6 months, and already being in a final, of course, that's something that I'll rate highly. But if it's the biggest one, I don't know, but it's certainly a great moment.
How do you personally handle pressure? How do you handle pressure in a game like this? You know what finals come with, emotions, pressure, and all that. How do you personally handle such atmosphere?
Me personally, as I said, I've been in a lot of finals before. I've won 11 titles, so for me it's on the road to become remembered, as I just mentioned. So for me, it's a positive. I see it as a great challenge. I see it as a possibility to be at the best we can. So I think for me, I just look forward to it. And of course there will be nerves, but it would be weird if we weren't having a little bit of nerves going into a game that is so big. But when the game goes and it starts, then we're very focused on the job that has to be done for 90 minutes.
You've obviously played against big players, many other players in the club have too. Messi is something entirely different, obviously. He's generational talent, so is Busquets. And if you watch Miami's other games, I mean, there is an element, I think, sometimes of when people defend Messi, Busquets, etc., of maybe not them being awestruck, but I mean, it's different. It's different being on the field with Messi, obviously. Is there any part of you that thinks, that has any concern, or thinks that that's something that you guys might face, that, especially with younger players on the team, that they literally step to Messi on the ball and think, oh my God, basically,
I can only talk for myself, and I think up to the game, I have no issues that players, young players or whatever, think it's an amazing thing. But I know when we go in there and we're in the huddle before the game starts, it doesn't matter who we play against. So it's easy to say that we don't care if it's Messi or whoever. Of course, we would love to play against the best players. But when you are there and you're facing players, it's about that situation, about that moment you're in, and then you don't think about whoever you're facing against. That's something that happens for me personally afterwards, that you look back and reflect and say, hey, this was a great moment in your career, and so on. So I think we'll be fine. And whenever young players have this first experience, it's nice because it's something that they'll remember.
You mentioned obviously the Dynamo are viewed as underdogs generally. This game in particular, I mean, there are very few people who will be watching this game who are watching it for the Houston Dynamo.
Oh, I didn't know.
You know what I mean? It's Messi, it's Miami. Do you view this as an even bigger opportunity than normal? I mean, obviously, you guys have an opportunity to make a pretty massive statement in front of a sizable audience. You know.
I agree. Fans will watch it basically because it's Inter Miami and Messi, and for us that might be a little bit of an advantage, and we'll take everything we can when we go away too. But in the end, it comes up to that 90 minutes. A final is a final that lives its own life, and everyone can beat each other on that day. But we need to be in our form that we have been for a long time, and that's why we have come to this situation where we are in a final, and we are pretty good in the run of form. I think we're one of the team that is in the best form, I would say, in the MLS. And going in with that self-confidence is something that we can build upon, and especially being a new group and a lot of new players that think when it changed, when we clinched that final, that we were going to the final, that's where it really began to like, okay, we're doing something here, and we can do something together as a team, and the players are really building upon that kind of experience.
How have you guys achieved that cohesion with so many new players?
It's a good question, but sometimes when you build a new team and you find the right profiles, it happens faster than you sometimes think. And in our situation, it's been fairly quick, especially with so many games we've played, and winning games is the best kind of cure to getting a team together, and we have done that for a while, and being unbeaten for 2 times now in a run of 4 or 5 games, that also adds out to that kind of momentum and self-belief, which is the most important in football, that you believe that you're going into the game, that you either win or at least you have a good game, and that's what has happened the last many games.
What does it mean for you coming in new to this club, to a fan base that is very loyal but still wants more? What does it mean in your first season bringing a possible cup to this city and to this team?
It would be a huge deal, especially being, as we talked about, a new group and being a new player, coming with so much experience that I have, with so many titles. Of course, from a personal view, I would love to have my next title, but also I know how much it means for a team, for a city, to have that trophy around the city. It's a huge city. I don't know if we could go around, but it will be great to have it home, and it will build upon the next coming years.
What do you think is, you're not going to have your at-home fan base. What do you're historically not so incredibly dominant on the road, but what do you have the message for fans and then the ones that are traveling with you guys?
I think they should look at the form that we're in, where we are in the league, and we've done so good. We're playing some of the best football there is at the moment. We are very strong defensively, so in that sense, I think the fans couldn't be more thrilled with this kind of expression that we have right now. So it's so important that everyone is behind us, and even though we're away, it would be nice to have it at a ground where we could have 50-50 fans, but it's very magnitude in the sense of distances here, so it's not possible. But we will take everything we can, and we have our loyal families with us on the stand, so it's not the fans, but it's the family that will be there close to us, and then when we come home with the trophy, then we can celebrate.
Erik, you've mentioned when you faced Prime Barca back in Champions League, that was the toughest matchup you've ever had against Messi. You felt his dominance and how tough he is. Somebody like that who has experience, and somebody like Hector, what can you share with the team to kind of help you guys?
I get these questions a lot, especially being an experienced player and have tried these things before. But I think in football, it's very difficult just to give kind of a map or a screenplay and say, hey, I have this for you guys, and you just follow this and you'll be fine. It rarely happens like that. So it's down to the kind of small incidents, small momentum things. And of course, us with more experience, we need to have a great game. We need to be the guys that the players can rely on. Whenever there's a situation that's getting tight in the game, then we need to be there that's where the experience comes from. But of course, the guys that hasn't played before, they also have a chance to show that they are not impressed by the situation, So that unimpressed kind of feeling, I think that is something that you have to wrap your head around, and don't think about that it's a final, don't think about it's Messi or whoever. You have a chance here to win something. That's the more important thing than anything else. And of course, it's, as we talked about, after that, you reflect and you will be hopefully happy that you played a game that you also won.
Now, how important is it as a defensive line to be, I guess, disciplined around the box to eliminate those free kicks?
Yeah, I think that's the most important. Of course, the most important is to score the goal so we win the game. But on the other hand, we know that Messi or Martinez, there will be guys who are sometimes in when we have the transition, there will be the guys who just hang around at the middle, and when they got the transition, they'll be ready for it. So we need to eliminate that kind of threat, and that's by being so much focused when we have the ball and we are attacking, that us defenders are there on the mid half, and then when we go back to the box, that we are really, really aware of 1-2s, because they're really good at playing and running, and that's where we need to be sharp.
How much of it is, you guys' preparation, and how much of it is like making sure that Messi doesn't, do what Messi does?
No, of course we have so much respect for the entire squad, and of course Messi is that kind of talisman for them. So it's a big thing for us, but again, we also need to know that it's 11 individuals in that team, even though that he has done amazingly and has scored a lot of important goals. In the end, it's us versus another team with, of course, a player that is really, really good. So I believe we can do it, no matter if it's Messi or whoever, but we respect the opponents, and when we go on the pitch, we know that we can do it.
We'll wrap up now. Erik?
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Erik.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.